Hey guys, this is Callum from EnglishShooting and welcome back to the channel. I hope you're all keeping well and keeping safe during this lockdown period. But as I've been saying, it's important to still have fun, to still keep yourself entertained and still get some trigger time in. And what I've been saying is that I was going to show you how to build a home range, and you can see behind me, here's one that I prepared earlier. By no means am I an expert range builder, or by no means am I going to say that what I built is pretty. It's pretty crude, but it is up to scratch and it will do what is intended, because there are a number of things that you do need to consider shooting at home, and I'm going to go through them in this video. But let's go up to the top and show you what I've built. Now, one of the main things that you need to consider is safety. You do not want any pellets, BBs or any sort of ammunition leaving the premises of your property or the boundary of your property. That is one of the main conditions of shooting on your own land. You're allowed to do it certainly with sub 12 foot-pound air guns and BB guns, but making sure that nothing leaves the boundary of your property is incredibly important. You do also have to bear in mind about how close you are to paths and roads, so really go on Google Maps, look at an aerial view and look where the safest position would be to build your backstop. But that's really all I've built here, is a backstop, making sure that nothing is going to go through. And it's really crude. It's a couple of pallets just stacked, making sure that there's a complete wall of wood behind. I've got this carpet here that's going to offer sort of some impact and slow down the pellet, but also deaden noise. And then I've just built this frame here to be able to dangle targets from and have something to shoot at. I've also used this as sort of a safe stop. I'm not going to put any targets higher than that, because I know anything within this boundary is going to be safe to shoot at and it's not going to miss the pallets. It might be tempting to just go, well, an air gun or a BB gun isn't going to go through a fence. Don't take the risk. I know my fences here have been up for a number of years. They may not be as strong as they used to be, and you don't want to rely on that to stop the pellet. Again, if anything leaves your property, you could get into serious trouble. But yes, a very basic, knocked up in sort of 5-10 minutes backstop, but I'm very confident that that is going to stop anything that I'm going to shoot at it. Obviously I'm not going to be doing anything live. It's really not suitable for 2.2 or anything above, but for air gun, BB, any sort of pellet, it should be more than adequate. So the last thing for me to do now is to actually hang the targets up on it, which I'll get on and do. I do have quite a selection actually stored away for, I don't know, purposes like this. Got some new bold targets from Caliber Innovations. They're the UK supplier. These are rubber healing, self-healing targets, and it's their hang tough, and I've got yellow, red, orange and black, something that you don't have to reset. You can see swing as you shoot them, but you are going to see that in a bit. I bought a Champion Center Mass Steel target ages ago in America because it was so cheap. First time I'm going to get to use that, but it's always nice to have a bit of steel on your range for that thing. And for a bit of zeroing and to see exactly where I'm shooting, I've got some Shoot NCs. So let's get busy and put them onto my frame. So my home range, rough, dirty, not the prettiest out there, but a selection of targets to be able to shoot at. I've got a few guns to try it out on. Let's go up range and test it out. So we've built the range, that's all ready. I've taken a couple of sighting shots in with the air gun and just check that nothing is going through and that everything is solid, and that I'm confident that it's safe. But what am I actually going to be shooting? So I've made a video on this gun before. Go and check it out if you're interested in it. It's a BSA Mercury. It's a break barrel gun in 2.2. It's my old granddad's rifle, incredibly sentimental. I was going to have a BSA R10 PCP gun, but it's out of gas and I don't think it's an essential journey to go out there and get it topped up. So that might appear in a future video, but that's upstairs at the moment. But bit useless with no gas. I've got my Action Air Glock, so that's a 6mm BB gun. I've got the magazines loaded up there. some spare gas as well. But I'm going to probably be doing some more sort of IPSC sort of training videos in the garden with this, but still fun to get it out. And on loan from Alex in the gun room, I have a metal 4.5mm Swiss Arms 1911 clone. Again, different ammunition, different type of gun, just keep the variety. But that's probably enough talking. Let's get some shooting in, shall we? So I have already started to sight this air gun in. That's why the turrets are off at the moment, but I'll continue that and see if I can get it on bullseye, because at the moment there's not a chance that I'm going to hit those new bolts. Again, just because you're in the garden, basic safety rules. Obviously with air guns you don't need hearing protection, but eye protection is always required. Unfortunately, I left my usual safety glasses at work, so everything's really makeshift, but this will probably be very similar to how it will be at home, you know, just grabbing anything you can to make a target out of, be that a tin can, be that just old flooring or whatever. As long as it's safe, as long as it's appropriate, then use it, have some fun, but always be safe. Safety comes first. And that's massively off to the left. I mean, it is an old gun and I haven't shot it for a while. I don't know if, is the scope loose? There's a little bit of wobble there. Might have to abandon this and go straight to the handguns. Although that was bang on. So let's have a pop at some of those new bolts, shall we? Nope, can't see where that's going. Let's try the steel. Oh, lovely sound. Even with an air gun, that still sounds great. Again, basic safety rules, as I'm sure you can see what I'm doing. Keep your muzzle low. You don't want anything going over. If you do, you know, keep your finger out of the trigger always until you're ready to take the shot. But you don't want to be elevating the muzzle up, just in case one does go off. I'm going to be either in the sleepers or grass in front of me. I'm going to be at my backstop. The last thing I want to be doing is taking pop shots at my neighbours, and that is also another consideration. And I'll just fire the shot off first. Oh, lovely. So gun is clear. So as I said, it's all about safety. We've got a safe backstop, it's stopping everything, especially that steel. Oh, such a lovely sound. But the other consideration is your neighbours. Not everybody will have to be concerned with it, depending on where you live, but we are surrounded at all sides here. So you want to be considerate. You don't want to be out for long periods of time shooting. There are going to be lots of people in the garden this time of year with the sun like it is. So, you know, limit the shooting that you're doing. You don't want to annoy your neighbours, and if you're in good contact with them, it would be good courtesy to sort of let them know, because if they go upstairs and look into your garden and see you there with an air gun, they might not know about guns, they might not know it's an air gun, they might just think, okay, that's a bit odd. It's always good to keep them informed about what you're doing, and that's going to avoid any potential confrontations. I know, unfortunately, a lot of times people end up just calling the police and then you have to justify it with them. At the end of the day, nothing I'm doing here is illegal. I've taken all reasonable precautions. All of the pellets are staying within the boundaries of the property. I'm using guns that I'm permitted to do on land that I'm permitted to do it on. So you just have to think, be sensible about it, and just try not to annoy anybody. I'm sure some people will have, you know, some objections to it, but if you limit it to maybe like half-an-hour sessions each day, then I'm sure, you know, they can get through that, they can put up with it. But if you're out there 7 hours a day shooting, again, I could see some neighbours having some disagreements with that. Let's give this Swiss Arms a go. Now, it's not a gun that I've actually shot before. I don't know where it's going to shoot, how accurate it's going to shoot. As you can see, it's got those copper 4.5mm BBs in there, and it uses the standard gas canisters. finally hit one of the new bowls. But as you can see, they're really reactive. That's great. They really do give a good swing. Let's make that clear, shall we? That's a nice little gun actually. It's got a nice kick to it. The last one to try out here, a gun that I'm probably more familiar with than anything else here. It is the Action Air Glock. Let's give that a go. Truth be told, I did try this before actually turning the camera on, and it just vented. So I'm hoping the magazines haven't broken. It's always one of the downsides of Action Air and airsoft guns. They're not as reliable. Let's see where this one goes then. There we go, it's venting. I don't know what's wrong with that. I have to take it in and let Connors have a look at that. So I can definitely say that this range is going to get a lot more use in the weeks and months to come. I really hope that this has encouraged some of you to go out and build your own little ranges, to keep up your trigger time and to subdue the boredom during this lockdown. But thank you very much for watching this video. I really do hope that you've enjoyed watching it. If you have, please hit that thumbs up button and make sure you're subscribed for future videos like the IPSC Action Air stage that I'm going to build in the garden in the next few days. And as always guys, I hope to see you soon.